Hey! The last digit of your like on this video by each who you are from Melon Playground, and the last digit of your subscription to my channel will show your Melon Playground item. So go down right now, subscribe and give me a like. Look at the screen. Notice the last digit of your like and your subscription and write in the comments who you are from Melon Playground. It's simple, if your like is number 8 and the last digit of your subscription is number 5, you're a lemon and a cactus. Show your imagination and enjoy the show.
Hello dear friends, you're on the Melonfonk channel, and in this video you and I are going to talk about things that will never be added to Melon Playground. But before I start the video, as always, I want to say a huge thank you to these guys right here for being in my video, and if you want to be in my next vid, it's pretty simple. You need to subscribe to the channel, give a like, and still write your own comments. Well, and don't forget to subscribe to the cart, the link is in the description. Anyway, I won't be with him for your time, and have a nice viewing experience. And judging by the views, you liked this video and this idea of this video. And I thought, why not do something else like this, because I have a lot of ideas. And let's reflect on the topic of what will never be added to Melon Playthrough. First of all, never add realistic graphics and physics. I mean 3D, 4D graphics, because it is basically meaningless in Melee Playground. Melee Playground is first of all a game that is about minimalism. There is no huge amount of details that irritate the eye. This is first of all the concept of the developers. There is a minimum of objects, more freedom and creativity, and therefore 3D graphics is not necessary, but I would not say that there is no need for 3D graphics. Physics is interesting and peculiar. In places, of course, there are a huge number of bugs, which I think that the developers in the future will fix, so it's a small problem, which is really solvable. And I think that in the future, all the same developers will try to realize their physics. It is physics for Melon Playground. They are some kind of super realistic. It is clear that for Melon Playground it is not needed, but in principle that 3D and 4D graphics in Melon Playground is not needed. It is 100% in your opinion. Of course, write in the comments. The next thing that will never be added to Melon Playground is, in my opinion, plot and name characters. Let's reflect on what plot is. A story is some line that follows a character from the beginning of their life to the end of their life, specifically in the game. At the moment, there are 5 characters in Melon Playground, but they are rather not characters, but a kind of NPC. The main character as such, there is no, if it can be called, it is Melon, but there is no storyline. This is the trick of Melon Playground, that the developers give freedom, reflection, and creativity, so that the player himself to think up his own story. Although as for me, and it would be interesting if the first entrance to the game would meet any animation like a movie, let's say the first chapter, their meme got into the laboratory and so on. And with a certain amount of time, let's say the opening of some locations and so on. Let's say if you pick up Psi 4, it would open some cutscene, which simply explained it is needed and so on. Anyway, I hope you understand my idea, which realistically, as far as I'm concerned, has a place in Melon Playground. Why not? Write about it in the comments. The next thing that will never be added to Melon Playground, and that is online mode. I think it's obvious that there can't be online in Melon Playground. And in general, how can it in principle be realized at all? Probably through some sort of multiplayer, but is that online? It's more like, is available in Melon Playground. Unless it would be cool if the developers within the game once a week to organize some kind of, I do not know, a competitive contest, thanks to which you can at a certain period of time to build buildings or create mods, and from this to identify the winner, thus you will have a leaderboard. Well, this is, for example, this is the only place where I could think of any online mode. But as such an online mode in Melon Playground cannot be, and I have already explained why. Write your me, of course, in the comments. The next thing that will never be added to Melon Playground is, as far as I'm concerned, multiplayer and co-op. Despite the fact that there are already a lot of concepts about it, and in principle I'm rooting for the fact that it is simply interesting, why not? But it will be available clearly not soon. not the next year is for me the history of Melon Playground, and it is obvious that the realization of multiplayer and in principle cooperative is almost impossible in such a sandbox as Melon Playground. Simply, this difficult implementation is a quick breakdown of the concept. I do not know how in general and principle can be realized and how it can be realized, but in principle the idea is interesting. Honestly, I would very much like to add cooperative, so you can have fun and torture Melon in the swim together with a friend that you compete on the same map and so on. But for this you need to create a preservation of worlds. For this you need to create some kind of canning. For this you need to create some kind of server, local, non-local. It does not matter. In general, a lot of things need to be created before it appears. Although this idea is very good, and I think that the developers have been thinking about it for many, many years. Your opinions, of course, write in the comments. Well, my opinion is that you need to add, but it will probably never happen. The next thing that will never appear most likely in Melon Playground, and what the developers themselves have stated, is different animals or plants that will constantly grow on the map. Primarily because the game focuses on physical interaction and destruction of objects rather than wildlife. Various animals on YouTube concepts about it exists, but in fact plants are in the game only in the form of some vegetables like corn and recently added a Christmas tree. But call it a plant is very difficult. It's more like some kind of decoration. Well, the animals, for obvious reasons, also cannot be added, primarily because the game is likely to be rated 16 or 18 plus. I'll explain why. Because surely players, as soon as you add animals, will start to really torture them. For 16 plus, so the developers will not risk going to this step. Despite the fact that the idea is really interesting. Write your opinions in the comments. Would you like to add animals in Melon Playground? But I think that it is actually unnecessary, and the developers are right to think that it is worth sticking to their concept and bend their line. Animals will probably be unnecessary. And the next thing I would like to see in Melon Playground, but it probably won't happen, is different music and sound effects. Yeah, Melon Playground currently has some number of sound effects for each of the items, but honestly, it would be cool to me if they were more, let's say, deeply customized and basically have the game be accompanied by some kind of interesting, intriguing music, like maybe ambient music. Such atmospheric music which accompanies you from the beginning to the end of the game process, which really immerses you in the atmosphere of some, mystery or something, and this is actually lacking in some places Melon Playground. Although I don't really care about it, just simply when recording, I try to turn off absolutely all the sounds. Sound effects absolutely all the music, so that nothing interferes with the background to record, let's say, my voice, so that you can hear everything clearly. That's why music and sound effects are not in the foreground for me, but at the same time, as a regular user of Melon Playgrade, I think it would be cool to feel involved in the game and immerse myself in it completely, and atmospheric music would at least give an impetus to this, and really music would be a good solution to better feel the atmosphere in Melon Playgrade. This is again my opinion, and post yours in the comments. Well, the next thing that will never be added to Melon Playground, although maybe somewhere it would be cool, is different game modes. Like what I'm talking about. Let's say if they added kill modes to Melon Playground. Let's say there's a map where you go in and you need to kill for a while on it, for example. That sounds like it would be interesting to me, but then again, I don't think that will ever happen in Melon Playground. Unfortunately, I would like to see it personally because there are many modes that have been invented before, which are sandboxes and various competitive contests. And it seems to me that for players it would be fun, although it seems to be some kind of restrictions on players introduce. So let's say that the developers will not go for it, simply because it is somehow away from the concept of Melon Playground. Although as for me, it would be cool to really kill at speed. Let's say 100 melons. Who is faster to cope with it? Let's say I do not know, with you write me of course. In general on this, my video comes to an end. Thank you all for watching. You were on the channel Melonfonk, and as always, see you the other day.